Okay,
Um,
so I
so I
think
have
we
it
are
handy.
taping. Let me go look. Yes, we are live. Welcome to the Tom and Pete show. We haven't had one of these in a while. Let me
Yeah,
give me 1 second. I'm gonna post the link to this real quick.
sure.
Um, okay, my channel. Actually, this is the live.
Okay, I will be back just in a minute. Sixty
Yep, that's
seconds.
fine.
I'm
Take your time.
back.
Okay, for everybody's viewing sake, I'll wait for Tom to get back. My friend Todd Nadzinski, he can correct my pronunciation of his last name. How do you pronounce your last name, Tom? Okay, that wasn't him. Um, we are going to attempt the wargaming hubris of all naval wargaming hubris, uh, which is attempting to play the Battle of Trafalgar in an hour.
Okay, I'm back.
Hey Tom, all right, we're live. So, all right, if you
Yeah,
make
yeah,
fun of me,
I
just
know.
realize everybody will hear, and that's fine. How do you properly
So,
pronounce your last name?
um, okay, Miedziński.
No, okay, I'm not gonna try that.
So, no, no.
Hold on, I'm gonna try it. Niedzinski. Nied
Miedziński.
Niedzinski. Okay. How about
Good
Net
luck.
Tom? How about
Good
Tom?
luck
How
with
about Tom?
that.
Tom N. That you are now Tom N.
Tom,
Okay.
yeah, it's fine. I know. My
It's
uncle
okay.
emigrated in 80s, and first thing he did is he changed his last name to something pronounceable.
Well, it's a great name. It's a great name. It rolls off the tongue, but it just takes a minute to roll
Yeah,
off.
right. It's it's not even easy in Polish, so yeah.
All right.
So
So you
it's
probably
not
can't
easy
see
last
what
name
I'm
in Polish.
showing. I need to probably show you this. Do I need to share? I'm gonna show you a few. You know what? It's okay. I sent you the order of battle for the
Yeah,
order of
you
battle
did.
sheet. You're gonna want to open that because that's what I'm gonna be talking to. I could
Yeah, I
eat.
did.
All right, so I see
You
that you're in
sent
there.
me
All
this.
right.
You sent me this,
Yep.
and the
And
British
the British
Squadron.
orders. Yeah.
So order of battle now, not the order, right?
Yeah, we're looking at the order of
I
battle
think.
right now. So let's stare at the
Yeah.
order of battle for a minute. All right. So
Sure.
for audience sake and for your sake, each of these I kind of color coded the squadrons. When we refer to the squadrons in the orders, we will refer to it by the name of the lead ship. So, for example, if we cooperatively order this squadron to do line ahead, all sail, northeast, or whatever basic order we do. You might want to open up the British orders one too. I think you probably do. It looks like you're in there. All right. So
Yeah,
the
I
way
opened British orders. Yes.
the way that orders work in far distant ships is you pretty much designate the squadron. It in fact you're supposed to designate the originator of the order, the receiver of the order, and then what you want them to do. And what you're supposed to do is in the basic rules use up to 6 words, as well as you can once a game agree upon special orders. We're not going to really do that here, but I just wanted to point it out just for audience sake, etc. So,
Okay.
so what we would normally do, let's just say we were the British at Trafalgar, we might have some special maneuver we want to do, at a given time with a very
Yeah.
specific signal. I really like how David worked this into it. There is an order sheet at the back, but I'm gonna just keep it simple, and I'll let it
Yeah, for
You know
now
what I'm
yes. But
saying?
I
You know, so
understand there is option for you to make some special order that you can execute
yes, exactly.
when
But
you
you can
invoke it.
also, in the advanced quotation mark signaling, you can spell out special words. And I think the way he did it was, if you use advanced signaling, you can add an additional two words that you can just basically spell out. But I would still just keep it very
Yeah.
simple, and we should be fine. I'm not going to get all hair splitty on that. All right, so again, let's go back to the order of battle. I'm going to tell you a few things about these. It's very simple as far as defined attributes of ships. All right, let's look at victory.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at
Yeah.
victory, and I think I messed up the squadron.
Yeah.
I think the squadron modifiers are neg one zero or
So
or
wait, I
one.
actually have one question about the about orders because okay,
Hmm.
you can send for six no 4 words, right?
You can
And
send
these
up to
words
six
are like
words,
normal words that
like
game
command,
understands or
like
command.
command level words. There is a single flag for line ahead. There are single flags
Okay.
for commonly used terms. Line ahead. I can show you. I
Oh, so
should have.
basically it's like signaling. Each word is like signaling flag, right?
Absolutely,
That
that's exactly right. Here,
so
I will. I will.
what my point is or what my actual question is. So these words define one like each word is
An attribute of the
one
order.
order defined by the game, or
Correct.
is okay. So
Right.
these
So
are
let
not
me.
some typical words that you can send to other player to perform orders. These are orders to the squadron
This is
that
a
are defined
squadron
by
level
the rule
order.
book.
Correct.
Okay,
Well,
and
a
this is
signal
defined
book.
with the rule book. Okay,
And I'll help you with
okay,
those. I have that here. I should have printed that out for you, but I'll help you with it. Okay. But okay,
okay, okay.
let me say that the signal
Yes.
book is at the back of the rules. Okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
in the 0x section it's numbers. In the 1x 2x it's directions. In the 3x
Mm-hmm.
sections, it's miscellaneous signals like enemy in sight, prepare for battle, disengage, leave on chase, attack transports. So there are very specific things. So
Okay,
keep the words to like one or two words in English, and we should be fine. Okay, we'll figure it out. Tell me what you're
okay.
kind of
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
do. That's why I kind of wanted to do this cooperatively. All right, so let's go back to
Okay.
the order of battle just very quickly. All right, I'm going to go left to right what these attributes are. I'm going to start with
Mm-hmm.
SQM and work my way. I'm on victories row. All right, so
Mm-hmm.
SQM is the squadron quality modifier. This is for the commander's attributes, right? And these are from neg
Mm-hmm.
1 to plus 1. Okay. Now,
Okay.
crew qualities are neg 2 to plus 2. Let me verify that just very quickly. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I should have had this ready. I just wanted to make sure I'm doing that right. Um, no, it's neg 1 to plus 2. So negative 1 is slack, 0 is
Mm-hmm.
average, 1 plus 1 is veteran, and then plus 2 is crack. So I gave victory a crack crew just for demonstration more than anything. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sure they had a very good crew. And I guess he's inspired, but he's more of a crackhead. Nelson. Yeah, you can berate me later for saying that, but he was a bit insane, but in a great way, right? Um,
Right.
let's see, victory. Okay, so the guns are just that's just really there to help you rate it. Now, what you would normally do, there
Okay.
is, so you are a first rate. This comes into play when you're comparing ships for attack, defense, etc. And then also, I think it affects
Mm-hmm.
boarding too, which I don't think we're going to be doing too much of, but we might try to
Okay.
we might try to force one just to show it. All right, so this is your base speed in centimeters. Okay,
Okay.
and I believe the board is set that way. And then certain things are going to modify that, and I will help you with that. This is
Sure.
an attack factor. A DF is
Okay.
a defense
Difference.
factor, and a BF is a boarding factor. And the in this case, I didn't give any boarding factor boosts. The French sometimes had slightly they were slightly more better equipped, or they had a lot more crew on certain ships. Their 74s or higher,
Right.
in particular,
Okay.
they kind of boosted their crews for warding off boarding, etc. I don't know the exact historical nature of that, but that's the way David had described it in previous scenarios. Let's see. That's it. Any questions, Tom, on those basic attributes?
No, not really. Only the one you mentioned. So the number of guns is just
It's
for us to
an
compare
it's
strips, but
for yes,
it doesn't play role in the
exactly.
rules
And
itself. Okay.
also there is no you don't have to track having fired the broadside, and you don't have to track the ammo used. There's no special ammo
Okay.
types. Now there is in the advanced quotation marks rules, you can fire high or low. You can fire towards the mast, or you can fire towards the hull if you prefer. I don't think we're going to be
Hmm.
doing that as the British. We're probably going to be just firing on the hull. So we're
Okay.
gonna probably keep it to that basic. We're gonna be firing at the hull, just because that's basically what happened during this battle anyway. All right. So but if you were playing a game where either as the British or as the French, it wasn't always the French, everybody. That if you had a strategic goal, you may want to stay apart and just kind of dismast and cause criticals and stuff like that. So it is available. I will maybe take some time later. I think Tom, you have to leave at some point, so maybe after that, I might describe to the viewers a little bit how
Yeah.
firing high
So
works.
we'll
But
see.
all right, so
Okay.
let's just go for it a little bit here. And here we go. Let me describe these lines a little bit. So this, if you look back at the British order, excuse me, the British OOB, the weather line is the first two larger colored squadrons there. So victory is at the head of this line, right?
Hmm.
And I have a better description of what those are. This is the weather column, and then the Royal Sovereign is at the head of the Lee column. Okay, so if we look down here, this is
Okay.
the Lee column, this is the weather column, as we'll describe it throughout the battle. So
Okay.
what's very interesting is there's going to be an interesting ruling here as far as how they almost had like a spearhead or an arrowhead formation when they started. And let me go look at the historical image, and it does show them in almost a line ahead, line abreast formation. It was kind of like almost an arrowhead formation. Excuse me. And we're gonna have to try to figure out how to rule this. I would think that this is a special formation, right? It's almost the equivalent of a line abreast or a line of bearing, but of it's almost a
But not really.
it's a diamond formation, right? And so it's going to be
Right.
interesting when we interpenetrate the line, which is basically actually one of the main goals of doing this demonstration was I wanted to test the break the line rule, because it actually has a break the line rule in these rules, which is
Hmm.
interesting. I haven't seen that in other rule sets. Okay, so what we do is you probably want to get yourself a D6. Maybe copy one of these for your. Which do you want to just run? You want to run this line, and I'll run this line, but I'll help you on this line. Something like that.
Yes.
All right. So you
Then the,
want to.
although I don't know if maybe run the more complicated line with this diamond that I will take.
Okay, that's fine. All right, let's do that then. I'm going to pull a dice here. Okay. So one of the
Hmm.
first things we do. Let me get my rules set up where I want it to be. Is we do. This is the command phase. And it would have helped if I was positioned on that in my rules here. In the command phase, there's two portions of the command phase, right?
Okay.
You roll for command points, and then you use those
Hmm.
command points to in this phase to do firefighting, damage control, and recovery from critical hits. You also immediately after this go into a signal phase where you can expend command points to give orders. So orders actually cost command points. Okay, so here let's just
Hmm.
demonstrate it here. So this is the
Okay, and you roll for player or for a squadron?
squadron. So I'm rolling for
Okay.
one, two, three. I think it's all the way these five here. I'm gonna roll this. Just watch me do this. Okay. So I'm rolling for Nelson. He has a SCM for his squadron of +1 because he is great and all that.
Okay.
So we actually rolled five. So
So the squadrons are in your
in the
Google Forms.
order, there are
There are
one,
color
two,
coded,
three, four.
right?
Yeah, they're color coded there. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
So for you, with Royal Sovereign at the front, you'd be issuing an order for Royal Sovereign, Bellew, Mars, Tonnant, and Bellerophon. So the first five ships here, one, two, three, four, five. If you want me to, I can even
Okay. No, no, no.
mark
It's
that.
fine if I know.
Yeah, but I'll mark it as we do it. So right
Yeah,
now
right.
I am. Let's change this marker. Right now I am basically doing the needful for. Oh, wow, that's a big line. Why is that? I don't understand that line.
So okay, what you
I
doing?
don't know
Okay.
why that's.
Ah,
I
fine,
don't know. I
fine.
don't know why that's so big. All right.
You
I
can
don't know
edit
where
the
that.
size.
I don't know how
Yeah,
I got it
I
that.
try to remember
There's
where
a
I will
hotkey
tell
for
you.
that, but who cares? Okay. So I'm.
Yeah, yeah,
I am
exactly.
ordering for these five here. Let's see. Make sure that's five on mine. It's actually one, two, three, four, five. One, two, three, four. It's all the way through Britannia, so it's through here. So it's these six ships I'm ordering for. Okay. Okay, so
Okay,
here's my command points. All right, so then I'm going to go ahead and take an order flag here just to kind of, I'm going to do it this way for our demonstration's sake.
okay,
So we're going to say victory order, victory squadron orders. Ew, that didn't work. I'm just going to keep it pretty simple. I'm going to keep it as diamond. I'm going to call this an arrowhead formation.
okay,
Arrowhead formation, all sails. And we are headed, looks like southeast. And we'll keep that, and we're just going to try to break the line. Okay.
hmm,
So here's the interesting thing about orders is they're not guaranteed,
okay,
but there are some modifiers to whether it is successfully there. We're not going to do that yet. I'm just going to physically do my orders right now. Okay. I'm going to leave this
okay.
dice here. I'm going to actually modify it. I'm going to modify it to five because we got the plus one. Okay. I'm going to leave that
Right.
there.
And this
Now
gives you 5 orders, right? This
this
isn't
gives you five
wrong.
command points,
Command
and
points. Okay,
command points cost more if you're independent. For example, up here you have Africa, right? Africa is a
right.
squadron of one, at least in the order of battle. It was late to the battle. It had weather. It was having weather issues, and then it came in here. Anything
Okay.
under 44 guns, it's not even on the order of battle. We're just gonna use them as repeaters. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, I think historically Nelson did allow some. Like if you look at the tail of the weather line here, there are some here that are 36 gunners and so forth. All right. I can't remember if historically he allowed them to fight, but I wouldn't think they would have. I think they were probably there on station to relay orders between the
Mhm.
columns.
Okay.
All right, so what we're going to do is let me continue to do this down the line. I'm going to put it next to the lead ship. That would probably help. So here's
Okay.
victory.
So first you roll for everyone, and then you assign
Right. So I'm going to roll for the
orders. Okay.
second. I'm going to roll for the second squadron. He rolled very well. He doesn't get a modifier. I don't think Agamemnon had a modifier. Yes, he did have a
Mm,
modifier. He did have a modifier. So he goes to six with his modifier, and then I'm gonna put one back here. One, two, three, four, five. I think that's it for that. These guys are all frigates back here, so or even smaller. So these are the two
okay.
squadrons. These are the two squadrons. One, two, three,
Okay.
four, five. Okay, so those guys have their command points. So we're not quite there yet. I'm gonna go ahead and put my orders there. I'm gonna keep them as line ahead. All sails
Okay.
southeast.
So this is one order that
Yes,
costs you one command point for now.
correct. If you are in a formation,
Yeah.
if
Okay.
if for some reason you break off one of them,
Mhm.
it costs two command points to order that unit. So like for
So, but basically he's part of the squadron. But if he's not in formation, it costs you more to give him order, right?
cor- correct. Now there are certain caveats to that where you can give a general chase order, and I believe that they can still use the command points from the squadron leader if they're on a general chase order. So that means they're still under command and they're within 30 centimeters of the leader, the lead ship.
Yeah. Yeah,
They can
but
still
okay,
be
but
given, but if they're
it's special
truly,
order,
if they're
kind of
if they're
special.
specifically operating independently, like I would even
Yes.
say Africa is operating independently. I'm actually going to rule it as he has to spend two command points to order himself even. So that's that. That's how it generally works. So let me put a dice over here and I'll have you do it.
Okay,
So
so
here's
if you clone because
one, two,
I can
three,
clone,
four, five, six.
I can copy and clone
Let me look.
dices.
Bellerophon is the last one. Hold on. One, two. Where is
From what I've
Bellerophon? Okay.
seen,
I
Bellerophon
think
is
he's
here,
right
so Colossus is
here.
here,
I think you have
and
a
Dreadnought, the big one
dreadnought.
here,
Okay.
is
So
the leader of the crew.
roll that front
Yes.
dice. Go ahead and roll these other dice. Go ahead and roll them. Okay. All right. So let's don't move those. Okay. All right.
Right.
So then let me go make sure that we did that right. So Royal Sovereign, Colossus, and Dreadnought. We did that right. So Colossus. Yes, we did. Okay.
Royal Sovereign get +1, but can you have 7? Then I have 7,
No,
or
you can't go.
no? I can go beyond. Okay.
Hold on a second. That's a good question. Hold on a second. I think you actually can.
Okay. I will switch.
Yes, you can.
Uh, okay. So I need to remember. I switch Dreadnought to 3 because she has a squadron modifier of +1. So, but yeah,
Yes.
this I
Yep.
will need to remember. It's 7,
I can.
right?
What we can also do is let's bring in a D10 real quick.
Right.
Let's go ahead and go do that while we're sitting here. Plastic
As a marker.
D10. Go ahead and do that one then. Okay. Put that at
Wait. No.
7.
How can you say
You do right and then
D10?
rotation value 7.
Okay.
You want me to do it?
No, I did it. Okay.
Okay. Let me
I'm
get that
fine.
out of your way. I'll put that over here. You can reuse it later. Okay. You good?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
good.
so now what you would do is you would probably issue orders to these squadrons, and we
Yes,
don't know if
and when so if I send order the squadron, I'm sending order to all the guys that are not
you
broken off and in the or independent, right?
correct. And if there were some, you are the fleet admiral as well, so you have a little bit more flexibility in that. If somebody is independent, you can use your CP on that independent unit too. That's
Okay.
an added bonus for being the fleet
Admiral.
admiral, I guess would be. In this case, we're going to treat these columns as fleets. All right, that's fine.
Okay.
Normally, probably uh, Nelson probably would have only had that, but I would say that these are basically two independent fleets trying to interpenetrate a large double
Yeah,
fleet anyway.
let's for simplicity's sake, let's treat them like
Yeah,
that,
they
like
are.
two
These are
independent
basically it's
forces.
two fleets against. Oh, you're going against a huge ass fleet anyway. All right, so a double fleet anyway. All right, so here
Mhm,
you would right click on your flag and just go ahead and
mhm.
give it orders. Again, if you want to look at how I did it, just put your mouse over my little order thing, just kind of see how I read it. Now we could
Okay.
easily we could also use the sheets if preferred, but because we're not double blinding this, I figured this is probably just as easy, right?
So I can just
Just
call it
right,
blah.
yeah,
And
just
this is
the basic
loyal sovereign.
yeah. We would normally, if we were double blinding this, we would go and use these order sheets, but I kind of use these order sheets for the demonstration just to kind of show you what they do look like. Okay, but so
Right.
up to
Okay.
6 words describing what you're doing. To keep it really simple, line ahead, all sail, in the direction you want is about as simple as you get. If you want to get any more fancy than that, just ask me and I'll help you. I'll help you do it.
Okay. So I can call it line ahead.
Yeah, you just
So line ahead is
straight.
treated here as one word, right?
Yes, it is one order. Yes, yes,
Okay.
it's
So
one
it's
word.
one order, and
Hmm.
it can be
It's
treated as quote unquote one word
correct.
for the
It's one. It's one
order.
flag. I guess the way to
Okay.
think of it is one flag.
Oh, okay. That's better
And
description, I guess.
they do allow for spelled words as well, but I think I'd prefer people to keep that to it's just as a GM I would think I would probably keep that to one of the words being a spelled word, something to that degree, because you just don't want it to get too complicated. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to visually see it, right? Especially in battle.
Yeah, that was my main question. Is can you just send the words you want? But I guess all each command point is like command flag, right?
Each command point is for an order, and the order can be up to 6 words in the basic, which is what we're using.
Okay, because I just was confused if the words are. any word you like, or is there a list of
There is,
words that
yeah, I know. I
comprise
don't.
disorders?
I just okay. Now hold on a
Or
second.
can I just say forward, guys, and does that count?
You can tell me that, and I'll tell you what to say. Okay.
Okay,
For
okay,
now, I'm gonna have to go get
fine.
us. I don't want to show the
No, I don't
rules.
want you to describe it to me. I just wondered from the rule book standpoint, what kind of
Okay, so here, let me give you some more
how
examples.
strict the rule book is.
Let me give you an example. There are fleet maneuvering flags, right?
Right.
There's one flag for turn in succession. There's one flag for turn together. There's one flag for
Okay.
line ahead. There's one flag for line abreast, etc. There's one flag for directions like north by northeast. So and then there's miscellaneous signals. Like if you're just trying to do sighting signals, there is one flag for enemy in sight and so forth. So just I'll help you compose
Sure.
your signals here. Okay. I just I didn't create the
Fine.
signal book sheet, but I should have. But it's all right.
Okay. I just wondered how the rule book is
Now what?
defining it.
So here's the
If it
thing.
is very lax or is it pretty strict?
Let's go look at the. Okay, so if you look at the quick play sheets, you'll see what else you can spend it on. So look at the sheet down here.
Yeah,
Okay,
let me get back to them. Gunnery
they're down here.
effects. No,
They're
this is.
they're down here. If you want to just look at it on the actual
Oh,
version.
you made them here.
Yeah, you can
Fine.
just alt it.
That's better.
All right,
Yeah, that
so
would be easier.
just to kind of show you, it does cost a pretty good amount to try to repair CP costs. And one thing that David highlighted in the rules is that this is an aggregate of morale, fatigue, and wear and tear and
Hmm?
damage and so on, injuries as well.
Right.
So it's very similar, and I described this to David. It's very similar to Star Wars West End games where you have wound levels for all your ships, right? So
Okay.
it's really cool. You'll see
Yeah,
as we get
sure.
into some firing here. All
So
right.
this
I just
so
wanted
so
you to
let's
know
keep
what
going.
you can also spend your command points on because you end up with a pretty good amount of command points. Things get a little crazy once you start getting damage and you want to do damage control. Okay, this is gonna get interesting because we want to go.
So this was command phase, and now we have signal phase already, right? Because we are
Right,
sending
exactly.
signals.
We're gonna be combining phase one and two real quick. Hold on one second.
So should I subtract these command
Mm,
points from my
just hold on a
totals?
second because we need to figure out if
Yeah.
they
Okay.
we need to figure out if the rules got there. Okay, so then what you do is, and this is not going to be very difficult at all because in all these situations, orders issued to own squadron flagship screen. Okay, so if you're issuing it to your own squadron and your flagship is leading the line, which in this case is always the case, you actually get a +2 to this roll. All right, so we're going to take
Oh.
another. So hold on, let's take a red dice for this one. So we're going to roll to
Yeah.
see if these orders get through. Okay, so let
Okay.
me roll this. There's really no. Ooh, okay. I rolled a 1 +2. It's still a 3 plus.
Okay. What I need to roll?
Squadrons, flagship, leading flagship. I wonder if
Okay.
that meant their flagship. I'm wondering if that means the fleet flagship leading, and in which case he really can't. His orders will always be seen because he's the fleet flagship. Okay, so the modifiers are +2 for orders issued to +2 for orders issued to own squadron flagship leading, and then the second one is +1 for orders issued to other squadron flagship leading. So it's kind of weird because you can't really fail if your flagship is leading
Reading.
because you have to get a 3 plus. But there's also some other modifiers. Receiving admiral is dull. Transmitting, repeating, or receiving ship is on fire. Recipient is greater than 3. So there are some other modifiers that would make this fail. All right, but in this early phase of the
Okay.
battle, because there are no fires occurring, and because you're not, I don't know. I think we could probably work on house ruling that just a little bit there. Okay.
For time
All
being,
right.
right?
Yeah. But
Because you need to roll, as you said, you need to roll three. or
It
more
needs to be
or
three or
above?
three or better for the orders to go.
Oh,
So
three
so
or
there has to
better.
be some
Okay.
pretty extenuating circumstances for the orders not to get there. Really, is really the
Okay.
bottom line. All right, but we're gonna just in this case you only get a +1. No, it's the same. Own squadron flagship. If for some reason later your flagship is not leading, that's where this becomes an issue. Okay.
Okay.
So if you come in here and we start breaking lines, and you happen to be in like a line abreast formation, and your flag ship gets on the other side of the line somehow,
Yeah.
then that starts to be a pain in the ass because you can't because your flagship's not in visual line, right?
Okay.
As a matter of fact,
Right. I
I'm
get it.
wondering if what's interesting is if your flagship was not. I almost want to rule it so that if your flagship is interpenetrated by enemy, then and you're apart from your squadron, that you would automatically become a squadron of one, and you would become an independent ship. So interesting. We're driving the edge of the rules here. All right, which is
Okay.
fine. That's what I wanted to do. All right, so you would
Fine. Fine.
probably roll for this just to be sure, whatever. See, that's not guaranteed, right? So in other words, if
Right.
your flag was not leading, you'd only get a +1. So if I had rolled a 1, then it would have been delayed. Okay.
Okay.
So what happens is if you roll really bad and there's some extenuating circumstances where your flag is not in front,
Mm-hmm.
then rolling a 1 could be bad because what it would do is it delays the order to the next turn.
Okay.
So you have to keep your previous order, right? That's how that affects that,
Sure.
right? Again,
Okay.
pretty heavy extenuating circumstances only. In
Mm-hmm.
other words, it rewards the rule system rewards keeping in line ahead and keeping your flagship in front. And that's very difficult over time as soon as we start firing on
Close.
each other. All right.
Okay.
All right. So
Get it.
pretty much
So
everybody's good. Everybody gets their order. Don't
I don't
let's
need to.
speed
Right.
up.
Right. Let's speed up and
Okay. So
yeah.
now this is where things get interesting. Again, we're gonna kind of
So now
AI. We're gonna
it's
AI this. We're gonna AI this line as line ahead.
okay. Right. Because
And we're gonna
squadron
do
movement phase
we're gonna
is right
do
now.
right. We're gonna do line ahead, all
My
sail.
my
Um,
question. My first question is, what's the order of movement, or
okay, hold on.
is it unnecessary? Is
Hold
it
on.
simultaneous? And okay.
Just hold on. We do it by squadron. Ships move straight ahead, following their orders unless their orders allow for ships to turn. For example, general chase. Okay, blah blah blah. Turns are executed at the beginning of movement, except tacking or turning in succession, where each ship in a squadron turns when it reaches its turning point. So, if in all of our cases we did not order a turn, you have to order a turn. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so if you want a squadron to turn, you would have to say turn in succession. Let's just say for some reason these guys weren't here. If you wanted to order this squadron to turn in succession, you would have to order it, say what you want that direction to be, okay,
Okay.
and then the captain can decide when to turn. And what we would do is we would use a turn marker, which is I
Okay. So if you
think
if
over
you don't
here.
order the turn, guys, just
You
go
have to go
forward.
straight. Yeah, you
Okay.
have to go straight. All right, so we're gonna probably interpenetrate here, or at least try to. These guys are gonna move now. Here, how do we do this again? All right, turns are executed. Da, 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 da. Once turns. I'm just trying to execute the beginning of movement. I'm just trying to see. I think you do it by. You just pick a squadron, but order execution center. Let me see. I'm just seeing where it says. Ships moving in a game is determined by taking its base speed, blah blah blah. We did all that. Turns in succession, but I'm not seeing. I know I read this where you do it by squadron, but I can't remember what order you do that.
Okay.
Hold on, squadron. Roll for
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
move squadrons in accordance with orders. I just think you just have to just do it. You just do it squadron by squadron because you're not going to be. You're not. The only move that allows firing while moving is penetrating a line, but I don't think we're gonna do that. I don't think we're gonna get there. Let's go look.
I just wonder what the order of movement is when guys collide
Yeah, I know, but
with
hold
each
on a
other.
second. This is killing me. Squadron will act in accordance with its current orders until. Okay, I'm looking at the movement area. Ship. Taking space. I swear I've read this. This is what I hate when I'm trying to demonstrate a rule set. Alright, avoiding contact. Line. I don't see where it says the order of operation of squadron movement. Once turns when execute ships, movement is determined based on ship's attitude. It's just moving in game terms. Determined by taking this blah blah blah. Ships must move this distance, but may reduce up to 3 centimeters if it to remain integrity. Okay. This is. I wish it was a little bit more straightforward for this. For gunnery, it's all ordered by squadron and then executed simultaneously, at least at the squadron level. I don't. I think we just go squadron by squadron. But what's weird about that is then how do you determine where you penetrate the line, because the line is going to be moving. Let's do
Yeah, exactly.
squadron. Let's do. We're not going to penetrate it, I don't think, because the movement is where it's 10 centimeters, so I don't
Because
think we're going to penetrate.
it wouldn't basically matter the order in which we move unless we collide with the guys, right?
Correct. And what I'm going to do is just do a really bad thing and just move these guys up about.
Oh, it's in. We are tracking in inches because
No, these are
you
centimeters.
said okay. Because how can I change? Because it gives me inches here, my ruler.
Okay, just hold on a second.
Yeah, I see.
I'm
They're
moving
busy.
them 8 centimeters. Okay, it's not
Okay.
ideal, but this is
Yeah,
we're
no problem.
just.
I just wondered where can I change the type of
It's on the
uh,
line. On F, click the
online
ruler, and
tool.
then the first unit, the first bubble is units. So click your line, the line icon, and then click your units icon.
Oh, line. Oh, okay. Found it.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right.
Great.
All right. Hold on. Let me grab these guys up. 8 centimeters. Okay. So that's again. That's the entire Franco-Spanish line here. Moving line ahead. I did it at 8 centimeters just for the sake of keeping in line with slower ships. That's something to keep in mind as well. These hundreds, these first raiders, usually have a base movement of 8 centimeters. So what we can do to speed up order time and speed designation is you can pretty much just use the speed of the slowest if you want. We'll just do that for now
Okay.
because the
Now, yeah, my question: how you determine the speed at which you move? Because it's I understand the 8 centimeters that
all
are
right,
given base
what you
speed.
do,
Base speed
come down
is the
here.
maximum speed, or is it?
That's the
Yeah,
base speed.
how the wind
What's
affects it? It's the
okay?
base speed. Okay.
Easy sail, which is basically all of our orders. It doesn't modify it plus or minus. If you wanted to increase your speed, you
Okay.
would set an order of all plain sail or full sail. You see that right there?
Yeah, I see it.
That's for sail setting. Now, there's also some wind modifiers as well. We're just doing moderate breeze for now. It might not be accurate. There's also
Moderate.
damage.
Oh, okay.
Damage comes into effect.
Moderate breeze don't modify your speed at all. Okay.
Correct. But let's go look at the wind
So it's
attitude.
for the sail, and yeah, where the wind is blowing, because from what I
It's from
understand,
the north
the
northwest. Um, for this battle, it's from the north northwest. But let's go look at the wind attitude chart. So we are all heading basically southeast. It is
So
north-northwest.
from what
We
I
are
see,
running.
this marker is showing correct
Right.
wind direction, I think,
And I
right?
think we're running, which actually would make us go two less than base. I think we're running right now. Right. Yeah,
Hmm,
don't.
it's hard to tell. Yeah,
We're at
sorry, I
north
move it
north.
maybe.
Yes. See how I marked it up here too? I said wind from north
Yeah, yeah,
northeast.
I see it here.
So
I wanted to compare it.
there is a sailing
So
attitude wind chart. I can go ahead. I can.
now I see the chart. I wasn't sure if we are running or
You're running right
bridge.
now. Everybody's
We're
running right
running.
now.
Everyone. Okay.
At least in our
So
lines.
we have six.
Now here's the thing. Let's go look at the Franco-Spanish line because they are if it's coming from north northwest and they're heading almost they're heading north
Yeah,
north.
then they are either
They're
in
almost
irons
attacking. Yeah,
or
exactly.
closed hold.
They're so I don't even know how the hell they got into this situation. Hold on a second. So the if the
Yeah, I
wind
don't
is
know either.
the north.
They are definitely in irons right now.
Now hold on, let's check that.
The
Well,
irons is
I'm gonna
pretty
check
broad
that
from Arc.
and then I'm gonna correct it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
north northwest.
recheck that because
So
this.
if they went, the closest they can go is northeast, or the closest they can go is northeast or west. So they basically have to. I mean, the whole damn line has to turn.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna go ahead and do that in chunks. I mean,
how
literally,
they
like
really historically were in this situation because
I
I
that's
don't
that's the way
know
it was described.
specific detail. I don't know specific details about this engagement.
So these guys are all.
Say, I must admit, I read more about World War II than Age of Sail.
These guys are all heading towards northeast, or they can't be going. They're close hauled
So they
northeast.
when they are in irons, they can only turn in place basically until they
They have to turn to the point where they get close hauled
yeah
on the other tack, right? On the opposite tack. So and the
right.
opposite tack for that is west.
Oh,
I need to get you
right.
this sailing attitude chart. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and get you this. I
No
don't know how to
problem.
do
Sorry.
this.
I have a feeling I will be playing exactly like that, fighting wings after that. We've
Hold
also
on.
oh
I
wait,
kind of wanted to avoid. Let me go all the way down. I just wanted to avoid just showing the rules. So, sorry.
no
All right.
problem.
Here's the signal chart, and I'll get this to you as well while I'm at it.
Sure.
Excuse me, David, for showing too much of the rules, but I don't think I did.
Well, you can. Well, okay. Send it to me privately.
Well, that's the problem. I'm sitting here videotaping everything right now. Oh, Lord, come on, this goofball. How do you get rid of the goofball damn overlay from PDF? All right, thank you,
When you do
David.
that, I will make some screenshot because these models look really nice.
Come on, it eventually disappears, but here we go.
Okay, you send them.
I'm gonna just directly send it to you.
Okay,
All right, there's the signal chart,
I see.
and I'm gonna try to just
Okay.
show the wind chart is right here, and okay, that's all I'll show.
Okay.
Okay, just keep that between us then. All right, otherwise,
Okay. Okay.
all right, that will help you. All right. So if you look at that sailing attitude to wind chart is
Okay, so
very good.
basically, right, because the turns are in, from what I've seen, for turns are made in 45-degree angles, and this is
Well,
basically
you can go up to.
how you
You
up
can go
to,
up to.
right, but
All right.
okay, but from
To
I've
make the
seen,
to make the turning easier, we should just turn at the beginning. It would be so much easier for us to turn in succession at the beginning of the turn. Just we can later on if we play again, we can probably do it at any time during it. But let's just for the ease of demonstration and going through this, I think it's probably easier. Like so, if you want to do a turn, you should very
right,
clearly say now if you want to say after 3 centimeter, it's okay to say that. Just you know what I'm saying. You can designate a turn point, but just
right,
in the order designate your turn point. But technically, you can turn at any point during the turn if you wanted to. All right.
okay.
So that's a really interesting observation. How the hell did the Franco-Spanish line not go into irons if the damn wind is coming at north northwest? I
Because
don't
if they
understand.
go to irons, they just need to move around the tackle next turn, or is there
Well, the way I'm
possibility
gonna
of
rule this
them
is
to
because
foul the? Is there possibility of
yes,
them of fouling
you go into
the
irons.
sails? Yeah, right.
What you do is
Because the only my only comparison is Avalon Hill's wooden ships and Iron Man. So
no, you start close halt. Sorry, my Kindle's going crazy. All right, so you start close hold, and then let me go look at tacking. I think it has its own page here.
maybe okay.
Just on a second. Tacking across
Uh,
the wind commences after forward movement has been completed. A ship wishing to tack must be close hauled. On completion of its movement, it is turned so that it points directly into the wind. At the start of its movement phase, in the next turn, you roll 2d6 and you apply modifiers based on damage and crew quality. The tack is successful on a 3 plus. If it's successful, the ship is turned so it's close hauled on the opposite tack, which is what I said before. It may then move as normal. If the tack is unsuccessful, the ship remains headed into the wind and makes no movement this turn. It may repeat the attempt. Now, what it doesn't mention is massed critical percent chances. Like so, in the more tactical level rule set Format of Battle by the same author,
mhm.
if you go into irons, there's if I recall correctly, there's a percent chance that you're going to lose a mast, right? But because if you
Um,
go in, it's very difficult to go. If you go into irons, there's a tremendous amount of strain on your the foremast
the my
and
only
mainmast.
comparison is, as I said, wooden ships and Iron Man. When you basically, if you go into irons, if you moved through the, if you had wind in your forward aspect, you rolled if you managed to tackle and move to turn to the other side, or if you just gone to irons and fouled your sails, and then you needed to either roll or delay the turning of a
I'm
ship.
going to show you something though,
The wind.
but the historical maps show exactly what we're showing. You see that?
Yeah, I've seen this map, I believe,
And so
sometime.
I'm a little.
And yeah,
I don't know.
it looks correct, but the wind, yeah, what I was
So what
getting at,
that
I think you marked the wind. Look at the wind mark. You marked the wind. I don't know why.
it's north northwest.
The wind marker is too much to the south. If Because I'm looking mostly at this.
North north.
Uh,
This is the
because
wind's
this is
coming this
north
direction.
northwest, but it should be more like
Well, that's
uh,
mm-mm,
no, oh,
that's
more like
northwest.
this.
That's
No,
northwest.
north,
That's
no, from
northwest.
north northwest.
So
Okay,
you got to
because
rotate it one more. You got
look,
to. That's. I think
yeah,
that's.
but look at the map you sent me, and there is a wind mark on
Yeah,
the
but it
left side.
says north northwest. It says
Yeah,
wind north northwest.
but do you see how it is drawn?
Yeah, but it's drawn wrong. Whoever that artist was, you're fired. All right. Sorry. If you
But
look
it's
at
at
it,
least,
that's not north northwest
yeah, it's
from a
not. Yeah,
compass
you're right.
perspective. Okay. All right.
But it makes sense when looking at the French line.
And that's basically why I'm allowing a correction north northwest. Yeah, that's that the what
Yes,
it's showing is more west by northwest, right? Yeah.
yes,
All right.
right.
So, which actually would make more sense. Is are those maps incorrect? Possibly.
Well, this
It
map
might
is
even it might even
correct.
be. Is that's not a W, is it? No, it's north. It says very clearly north
It's
northwest.
clearly W. It's clearly North N N W.
Okay.
It's definitely not West.
All right.
So,
The ruling is
I
that they're
don't get
close
it.
hauled right now. Let's just move on.
Yeah, let's say.
All right, so
Hmm,
they have all moved, but we haven't necessarily moved all these, right? So we're gonna go. We are running, so we go two less than normal. So that would actually make the larger first rate ships only go 6 centimeters, unless they raise sail, which I think they probably would at this point. So let's call it a let's break even at 8 centimeters. Is that a reasonable ruling? Okay,
I'm trying to find different map, but everyone
we're
just
gonna go
copied
eight
this one. I
centimeters.
have.
Okay, so
Uh,
it wasn't perfect, but sorry, everybody. So we're keeping this arrowhead formation, for lack of a better term, honestly. Now here's the interesting thing. This is going to
mhm.
take some shenagling because this line is effectively they are in a tight formation, which is within 3 centimeters or even yet. And let's check the formation. We are in a tight formation, by the way. We probably should have said that in our orders. Yeah, we're tight.
Okay, I didn't know there is
So
difference. So okay,
3 centimeters. If you keep it right at 3 centimeters, you're keeping a tight formation. And I think tight formation does come into effect. Let's go look at the modifiers. Trying to see if there's any negative modifier for tight formation. I don't see any. Hold on. No, I think maybe it comes into, you know what? It actually comes into play here in a moment because we have to check for collisions. Hold on one second. Oh
right.
my gravy! This Kindle just goes crazy whenever I. It's an older one. Every time I do anything on it, it kind of goes a little crazy.
Okay.
But what we're actually supposed to do is once we move, we have to check if we collide. It's a very rare instance, but there is a chance of it basically, and especially during tight.
Mhm.
Yeah, avoiding contact and breaking the line. But there's another one. Risk of collision. There is a chance of collisions between friendly ships depending on the formation. Roll 2d6 for each squadron. One squadron movement has been completed. So let's finish all the movement, and then we gotta check for risk of collision.
Right.
Okay,
For
and
each
it's pretty.
squadron.
Yes, exactly. So we just moved this, and I'm gonna go ahead and move the other squadron in line with the Spartiate. Let's move these guys 8. I think it's about 8 centimeters, but let's get them.
So I can move my guys also at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, I think. So
Yeah,
what
and
was
you have
my
a possible. Let's check how close you are. Yeah, you're
around
not gonna
oh
quite get it.
shoot.
I would do it at 8 centimeters. Do it at 8 centimeters in line. Just go ahead and. You want me to do it
Okay.
for you? You do it
Oh
like.
no. I just checked if I have Bellerophon in the first squadron or was it part
I
of the second.
think he's on the first. Let me check that. Yeah, he's on the first one.
Yeah, he's on the first. So 8
Eight
centimeters.
centimeters, and that's the equivalent of running, raising sail. That's a slight combination of running and raising sail to all sails. So you're gonna possibly have a modifier if you fire. Let's go look at all sail modifier because you had to raise your sails a little bit to keep that speed. Full sail? No, see, you don't get a modifier until you go full sail. So all sail, all plain sail it gives you a +1. We're kind of between all plain and full. Yeah, we might have to take a -1 on our shooting because of the extra sail. The assumption is that Nelson would have wanted us to go as quickly as possible and penetrate the lines. All right. So have you gone all the way? And then these guys are gonna move
Yep.
up,
Yep. Mm,
and hopefully we can speed up here, everybody. Sorry for. having to look up things left
Yes.
and right. How long do you have
I,
until? I have until about
I
9:50. I gotta switch over to another game. There
I
you go.
think I will have. Okay,
Yeah,
this
just
is
you can kind of fudge it a little bit. It's fine.
kind of keep formation, right?
You can correct the formation a little bit. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Because
because
they're
this
they're
this
they're in
this
a weird.
the last guy here will need to
Yeah, that's fine.
probably conform.
I'm gonna go ahead and look up the penetration.
I think I will have one more hour.
Yeah, but I have to end right at like 9:50 or so. So I got about
Okay,
40. I got about
that would
40
be
minutes. I
fine.
want to just at least
I
try to get through these lines and fire some. So technically we can.
sure, yeah, that would be
Technically,
nice
we
to
will
shoot.
be able to fire, especially up here. You might
I
be able to
am
fire.
Royal Sovereign
You may
is
even be able to get a
absolutely
burn. You might
able.
even be able to get a stern rake here.
The fire arc is basically the broad reach plus the close hold arc,
Well, okay, let's talk about that.
or the fire arc is something
Let's look at
different.
victory. Here, I'll look at it from. Well, actually, let's look at your first ship. So from Royal
Yeah, because
Sovereign,
I have a lot of guys.
you go
Oh,
from
this is
the.
the arc.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
here, this isn't great. Let me move this guy just a little bit. Okay, put it in.
I messed up. Sorry.
All right. So what you do is you put it kind of like towards the first part of the hull. So
Right.
it's basically lines straight out, but add 15 degrees. So it's from the
Yeah.
broadside though, right? You got to do it from the hull. So pretty much the foremast main and the mizzen mast. So
Okay.
so
So
I
you
would put it
don't
like right
measure
there.
it from the base. You don't measure it from the base, but from the model.
I mean, if you
Eh,
well, you would have to rule that on the table, especially if your models were pretty tight on the base. You can probably just go ahead and do that. That's fine. That's what we'll
yeah,
do
probably.
for ease of for
The,
ease of
the
measuring. That's
difference shouldn't be that
it's a
much
little
most of
bit.
the time.
Like here, you would be able to hit though.
I don't know if you see. Oh, you can see my ruler, right?
Yeah, I would think that
Oh,
this would be on the edge of it. I'd say
wait,
he
where
can't.
is pen? Where is line? Give me a second.
So technically, it has to be on the broadside
So
itself,
it
right?
will
So it'll
be
be
like.
yeah, exactly,
I
exactly.
also
That's exactly right.
I also have some very thick line for some reason.
I
Okay.
don't. Yeah, I don't
I
understand.
even lowered it. This is the thinnest line I think
But
I
there's
can get
a
because plus and minus is
well, let me
size
try
of the
it. Let
pen.
me try it
But this is the
myself.
thinnest one I managed to
Let me.
draw.
Oh, there you go. This is the thinnest. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
That's kind of weird. I
that's
don't know if
weird.
it's the scale of the
Yeah,
map or
exactly.
something. Now I can't erase the darn thing. Okay, I just got it. All right. So that's
I will
here.
leave mine for time being.
All right. So
So
yeah,
yeah,
you can probably hit this guy, but I think you have to be close to get a stern ray. Yeah, I don't think you're close. Let me look at raking real quick while we're here, while we're thinking about it. As a matter of fact, let's take that. Let's check that raking. A bow or stern rake may be made if a line perpendicular to shooter's center crosses target's front and rear bases. That probably would not be the case because right here you'd have to do a line right from the main mast. In order to get a rake, you have to be like
right. I
right
need to
right
make
straight
line from the
and go through the whole base.
starting from my. Oh,
Oop, wow.
yeah,
Here.
I
In
didn't
other words,
take
this
took
ship
line
would have to be like there.
here
And
on the line,
you have to be
on this
pretty
line
close, yeah.
basically, right?
And you have to be pretty close because the line actually has to go through. A bow or stern rake may be made if a line perpendicular to shooter's center line crosses the target's front and rear base edge, and the shooter is at close range for bow or close and medium for stern. So technically,
Oh my.
if this ship was right up to about here, and
Basically, if it even would be
yeah, but yeah, as long as it goes, yeah,
something
exactly.
like this would be
Um,
legit.
I think
Uh,
so. With
okay,
it,
but
if
it's not because he's here.
um, but yeah, but only for stern rake. Then only works for stern. You have to be close. Close is 0 to 8 centimeters. Medium is 8 to 20, and long is 20 to 30. By the way. All right.
Okay.
All right. Back to square one.
So I don't have stern rake, but I can shoot him nevertheless. And do I need to shoot the closest guy?
Yes, you
Because
do.
I need to shoot the closest guy, and line of sight is blocked probably by
Friendlies.
just by
And
only friendlies.
by any ship, friendly or
By any ship would be probably uh,
right.
logical.
So yeah, you wouldn't have to. You couldn't. You'd have to fire on this one, and you'd have to fire on this one
This is
before you
I
fired
need
on
to
any of
fire on this
those.
guy.
I
Yeah,
think
because
that's
this
it.
guy is Santana is out of arc.
All right, so let's go. Let's go ahead and just do that firing. It's all right.
Yeah,
This
let's
is.
fire at him.
Oh, you know what? We need to roll for collision. Hold on.
Because what are range for what? Ah, for collision. Right,
Yeah, here, I'm just
between
gonna
our
do it. I'm just gonna do it
guys.
very quick. So I'm gonna do it for this squadron. What do I get? Ooh, that's bad.
They actually might.
Yeah, I might actually freaking collide on. That'd be fun. Collide as victory on the first turn. All right, so let's go look at that. But I think that his command will make it not happen. Avoid collision. No.
Mm-hmm. I'm waiting.
CQM of the
Possible.
lowest ship in the squadron, so the lowest is 0. It's not gusty. If any ships have been demasted, no. We're in type formation, so it's neg 2. Oh, shizzle. Okay, a collision occurs on a roll of 2 or less. Determine randomly which. Hold on a second. Oh, God bless. Determine
No
randomly
problem.
which ships have collided. Roll for all but the trailing ship. The ship selected plus the ship astern of it have collided. Both ships. Okay, well, hold on. What the hell do you mean by that?
No problem.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think this is the whole thing. So let's just um, roll which ship. It's gonna be this ship. Conqueror is gonna collide into Leviathan. Lovely. Question occurs on a roll of 2 or less. Both immediately suffer light damage and become foul on a d6 roll of 2 or less. Okay, so we at least didn't foul, but they both have freaking light damage. All right, that sucks. All right, so this is how we mark damage. I rolled about as worst as you can, and because we were in tight formation. So that's something to
Okay,
keep in
so
mind. That's
this
something
is
to
how we
keep in
mark.
mind, Nelson. That tight formation isn't always great.
Exactly, you marked damage like this. I assume it is light damage. How the damage of the ships is tracked,
Okay, so
and
here
what
you got basically.
actually it means.
Okay, so light, medium, and heavy. But then let's go look over here on the chart. What it means is for light, it's neg 1 on the
Okay.
AF, neg 1 on DF, and then
Okay.
if you take another light, you see this escalates column.
Yes.
If it takes
Okay.
another light, like if somebody fires on it now, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And
Because I wanted to ask if light damage
so
aggregates or
yeah,
combines into higher damage levels. So
only the
only
variable
roll.
only with light.
Okay.
So if somebody causes a medium, it automatically escalates whatever. So if somebody was previously medium and you cause another medium, it's automatically a heavy. You see, it
And
escalates.
if someone okay, if someone was light, it's medium. It's just medium,
Correct.
right?
Well,
Okay.
hold on. If they were previously light and they get hit by another light, then you roll d6
Yes.
and then
But
you
if they
escalate.
had light and they are hit with medium, you just replace the light with the medium.
Correct, because it's the same thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
because it's
basically,
basically
right,
escalating the light to a medium, right? Right. Yeah.
right,
It doesn't
pretty much.
combine. It can
And
only
if
escalate.
heavy and if heavy escalates, the ship strikes colors.
Correct. And again, this is a combination of morale and fatigue, etc. So what we need to
Okay.
do is we need to also modify. So it's neg one. Okay, I'm gonna mark that on the sheets. I'll mark that on the sheets. So Leviathan and Conqueror are now at. Um, let's see. So they're -1 here, and then they're -1 here, and their speed is at -1. Right. That's probably a better way to modify. There's probably a better way to note this, but I'd probably do it on the ship models in the future. But what the hell? Just do it here.
Okay.
All right. So again, we'll keep the markers on there, but this is the literal effect of it. Their base speed is lower, their attack factor is lower, and their defense factor is lower. Now they
Okay.
can use command points in the next turn to alleviate that, but
Mhm.
you are only ever able to alleviate it back to Warren. So at best, we could improve the attack factor and the speed factor, but we can't fix that defensive modifier that just occurred. Okay, so once you take light damage, you can repair yourself down to Warren, but you can't repair yourself below that. If that makes sense. Right,
Okay.
once you're damaged.
Yeah.
So yay for the British on the first turn colliding. Gotta love that. You can laugh on the YouTube comments. Um, all right, so that's that. But so I think we have to do that across the board. So I'm gonna do that for my next squadron. Hopefully I don't roll crappy. I don't think I even need to check that. I'm gonna roll for yours real quick. Your first
Okay.
squadron. Ooh. Okay, these guys will collide. So then we gotta take a dice. And it was your first 6 guys, right? We gotta make sure that we keep
Yes.
this 1, 2, 3.
So
Keep these guys here. So the third.
okay, third. I
So
remember it was the
this will.
dreadnought. Third is simple because dreadnought is the
So
flagship.
Tonant will run into Mars. So you're gonna be in a similar situation here. So these guys are light.
Just automatically, or do we roll on the damage, or is
Um,
it automatic?
hold on a second. No, I think it's automatic on a collision.
Okay.
Let me just go look at that again. Both ships are moved the minimum distance to bring them into contact. Both immediately suffer light damage, and then they become fouled on a d6 roll of 2 or less. So hopefully this doesn't. All right, so they're fouled. I don't even have a marker for that.
Yeah, I will just. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
There
Make them
you
do things.
go.
All right. So that's fun. So then they're gonna have to defoul, I guess. For lack of a
Yeah.
better term. Unfoul.
My question will be if
Ships that
the
make
guys.
base-to-base contact with another ship and movement immediately as contact roll d6 on a score of +4. The ships are fouled or grappled. This allows boarding actions to be fought between the ships that are fouled or grappled. To ungrapple, roll d6 for each pair in the command phase, adding 1 if the ships want to separate. The attempt is successful on a 5 plus. Wow. So if we both want to defoul, to ungrapple, roll a d6 for each
But
pair
I believe
in the.
I believe your ships didn't foul,
No, we
only
didn't.
mine.
Right. So
No.
that's fun.
Yeah.
Hmm.
My question will be later if the Bellerophont now why Bellerophont is still part
Now
of
hold on.
this
Let's go check their command values too. Hold on. Be careful real quick. No, I didn't give them.
Colossus is actually the flagship
Yeah,
of the next
yeah, but
squadron from what
yeah,
I see.
I didn't have a crew modifier on that. But you rolled a 2. Um, yeah, but then the tight formation would have just erased your crew quality. So
Mhm.
this is rough. Yeah, that's rough, but it's made rougher by the formation being tight. So hey, so be it. It's the way it is. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's start doing some firing here. Get through that. I think that's about all we
Right.
have time for.
Yeah, we can
Um,
continue other day because I wonder if the Bellerophon now, because he is part of formation, he needs to avoid this calamity because when
I
the
think
guys are
that's
fold,
automatically.
I assume they are not moving.
That's a good point too.
But it's not a question important right now, right? Because we still have shooting to do.
Yeah,
So
I would think.
let's do
I would think it
shooting
would
and
be
maybe
the.
we
I would think it would be the
we might
equivalent of.
we can save and return to it later. So yeah.
All right. All right. Let's do some firing. Why don't you get some firing off? All right. So you're gonna fire from Sovereign to the Indomitable. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you are. Let's see what you're.
Exactly.
You're
Because what are the
within.
range
You're within
thing?
medium. Yes, you're within medium. So let's use our nifty diff. I want to use my nifty tracker I made for you. Uh,
Okay. So
because
right,
I can't.
because I'm in medium range
I'm
shooter.
gonna
There
go.
is a bunch
I'm
of
gonna go ahead and put it right
modifiers.
here so
Okay.
we can look at it.
So there is bunch of modifiers, of course. And then I roll.
Just hold on. Let's go through the modifiers. So for you, your attacker is Royal Sovereign. Royal Sovereign is an attack
Crew
factor.
quality
Crew quality
plus
is
one.
+1. So hold on. So crew quality +1. No
No
damage on
damage.
it. Not at full.
Full.
Actually, yes, we are going to do that because of what we said before. As far as we're beyond.
Yeah.
We're not full,
Close
but we're
range.
between all
No.
and full. You're not close. You're not close with Karna, and you're not long. You're not superior at same rate
Right.
or
Oh,
inferior.
so this is this comparison, right? We compare the rates of ships.
First to third rate downwind. Are we downwind? We
Right.
are
So first
downwind.
to third rate, because superior at same rate. No. Inferior at same. No.
I think
Uh,
we're upwind, right? Because what I think they're saying here is whether you're tipped over or not. First to third rate
you're saying
downwind.
about the downwind, but downwind
Let me see how that's
from.
described in the rule set. Hold on one second, okay?
Yeah,
Because
exactly. Because downwind from where? Like, if my ship is downwind
no,
or
if
the
I'm
target
like
is
if the
downwind?
target is downwind, it's the target. You're upwind. So what that's doing is
Upwind, yeah.
it's pushing the ship over on its starboard side, and it's
So,
exposing the all the
okay,
decks.
got it.
I think the are you okay? Okay.
Yeah, I guess. So
So
yeah, target is
if this
upwind.
guy was the target here is
Yeah,
upwind,
so
yeah,
it's basically if the target is downwind or not. So it's not, it's upwind, so there is no modifier,
yeah.
right?
What's this is worded a little oddly there because really you're you shouldn't get a negative modifier if you're downwind because the wind is coming from this direction. You are basically leeward of this ship, so you are leaning this way. Your lower deck is not covered by water, right? So you are
No, but yeah, so I don't
you
get
shouldn't get a
because
negative.
okay.
But what that you shouldn't get one. You shouldn't have a negative modifier because your decks are exposed properly. So if this ship,
No,
if
but you know
here I'm going to take this
the
ship real quick. If this ship was right here, right, the
right.
wind is pushing you over this way, and then your lower decks
Hmm.
can't fire properly
Right.
or less effectively, and then you would get a negative modifier. But
Yeah, and it's
this,
correct
yeah,
because in this wind, then my target will be downwind,
right.
and I get negative modifier because my side of the ship that
Yeah, but it's
is
just the way that this
downwind
is
is
worded is backwards, sort of,
maybe.
right? Right.
I don't
Just go.
know. I think it's
That's fine.
fine.
All right, we just got to use logic there. All right, so
Yeah, yeah. So I have no modifier for
you don't have
downwind,
being
and
any you don't have any weird modifiers for being basically leeward of it. All right, so
so I get for superior because superior at same rate. That means that if my ship is the same or superior rate to the target, correct?
let me read
So I
that.
get plus one
Just
from that.
I think you do. But hold on a second. I just wanted to make sure that that's
I'm not sure because another one is inferior,
Right? I kind of
same rate.
I would think
That's
that.
weird.
Yeah, that is weird. Let's go with that. That you would get that bonus if you're a superior rate. If you're a superior rate, why would you not get that bonus, right? If
Right.
yeah, right. So you get a +1, right?
Right.
Okay, so go ahead and roll a d6, and I will roll for the target. Now the target
Okay. How does it
is.
work? Right. I roll d6
Did we
and roll
determine that was a
6.
rake? No, it's not a rake. All right, so it's
No,
not a
it's not a
rake.
rake. We determined it's not
Unsupported.
rake.
Unsupported. What do they mean by that? Hold on a second.
So I roll for the shooter critical hits. Target for what I am for what I roll.
Give me 1 second. You just roll a
Well,
d6 with that modifier.
so I have 7, and now to
Hold on,
what
hold on.
I compare it.
You
Right.
add
Okay.
your AF to that as well. Where was your
Oh,
d6?
okay.
Where's your d6
Royal
roll?
Sovereign AF is 6.
Where's your d6 roll?
Here,
Okay.
this one.
So you roll d6 and then you add the 1 because that was the 1
Hmm.
from the, so you're at 7, but then you got to add your AF. So Royal
My
Sovereign
AF
is
is
6. So
6, I believe.
13. Let's bring in a.
Yes, it's 6. So
So
I have 13
let's go ahead and bring in this.
in total.
So let's go ahead and make that 13 just for marking's sake. So your modified end result is 13. I'm
13.
gonna do the same here. I'm gonna roll for the
Okay.
defender. He rolls a 6 actually, but there's no other modifiers. Oh, fire, light. There's no light damage. No bearing damage effects for AF are not damage effects for AF and DF are not accumulative. Not cumulative. So that's something to definitely take into account too. All right.
I
All right.
believe no. There is
So that's
no
it, right?
modifier. Right.
So 13 to 6, you doubled it. You greater than double it. Scores
Okay. Result.
twice or greater. So you actually scored a medium on that. You just made it.
Shooter
You
score is twice the
just.
target or greater, but less than 3. Yeah, medium.
So what's interesting there? Just hold on a second. Just what's interesting there? Oh wait, you know what? I need to add the DF. The
No.
DF
Okay.
of the. I was like, how the hell? Okay, so add the
Right. Okay.
DF. Who is
Exactly.
this? Indomitable. Yes, I'm here to make mistakes in front of everybody.
No
Indomitable
problem.
is a 4. So we add 4 to that, so it's 10. So you still do damage, but I think it's light. That makes a lot more sense.
Well, I should. What's the DF of the guy?
It was 4, so you beat it.
So 10 to 13. So I beat it,
So you
but
get
equal,
but not twice.
greater
So
than, greater than, but less than twice.
right, so you scored
Right?
light damage,
Then
right?
light.
Right. And
Uh,
then keep in mind that we can use command points to get rid of that, and etc. You know what I'm saying? So it's mending people,
yes.
it's mending
What?
morale, and so I mean you just
When?
affected the
When do?
morale.
Exactly. When do I roll for critical hits? Shooter rolls a 6 for gunnery and target rolls 1. How does it?
That would have been your That would have been your primary roll, which you rolled a 6 and then I rolled a 6. So what you
Ah, okay.
yeah.
So it's
So we
1. So
right. So if you rolled a 6 and I had rolled a 1, then it would have been a crit for you. If I had rolled a 6 and you had rolled a 1 natural, then it would have been
mhm.
crit for
Wait,
yours.
you subtract them.
You don't subtract anything. You just compare it. Like, okay, hold on a second. Let me.
Yeah,
You rolled a
because
6. I rolled a 6. It's not a crit. If I had rolled a 1, it would have been a crit against me. If it was the opposite, if it was you rolled a 1 and I rolled a 6, it would have been a critical on the originator, on the firer.
how do you determine it?
Just during the
It's
rolling.
in the rules.
Yeah,
It's in the rules.
yeah,
Okay, so there
yeah.
is nothing in the table.
No, exactly. Here,
It,
I'll
it's
read.
just it's just who has higher roll, basically.
No, hold on.
Okay.
It's
No, no,
if the.
no.
I'm going to read it out loud. If the shooter rolls a 6 and the target rolls a 1, then a critical hit is scored on the target.
Okay.
If
It's
the
just
shooter rolls. This is the
okay. So
natural,
he's
the natural roll.
just. I understand. I
Yeah.
just didn't didn't understood when the critical is scored and when. not. So it's uh, only if 6 and 1 is rolled
Correct, or
for
vice
either
versa,
side.
and vice
Okay.
versa, right? So
Or
if
vice versa. It is only situation where 6 and 1 is rolled at once for one or
either or,
for,
yeah,
for,
exactly. But
for either side,
we
right?
both rolled six, so there's no critical,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, so it's not okay.
So this
Then
was modified as a 10. So let me just put that here, just for this would have helped if we had it all sitting here like this. I'm gonna change the tint on it just for this is you modified, this is me modified, this is our natural rolls, right?
right.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Anything else? So we don't do any of this stuff. The light, that ship would immediately do minus, minus, minus. So let's go ahead and just mark that here for. So the AF is -1, the DF is -1, and the movement base is -1. Okay. And again, you can try to repair that, or the French can try to repair that next turn. All right, let's get maybe a couple more fires in, which these guys are really close to you. Why don't we just do this firing right here, just real quick, because we don't have
Okay,
a lot of time. So I think you're within
right.
arc. We're within arc of
I am
Pluton.
definitely in Arc of Pluto, but I don't think I'm in
No,
Arc or Fogek.
it doesn't matter. We'll just
Fogek?
finish this. We'll just do this one.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
So
So
roll for the French guy,
just hold on one second. I just want to
right?
look at what I
Oh,
got.
okay, the modifiers,
All
right.
right. So I am
I
not
don't.
at full sale, so I don't get the mod. Let me start at 0. Crew
You don't.
quality. Crew
Okay.
quality is 0. No
And you
damage,
don't
0.
rake me.
There
That's
is
for
no rake.
sure.
I am inferior though, so I would probably go to -1. I think,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm inferior because you're much larger there. All right, so then I think that's
Yeah.
about it. So here's this will be the attack. You want me this? You want this to be me and this to be you? You're the purple one, okay? So I'm gonna roll
Yeah.
this one. You
Okay.
roll that one. Okay. So again, we rolled exactly the same. All right. So now we add in for the attacker. We add in. Excuse me. I'm the attacker here. We add in the
Yes.
AF. The AF for that 74 is. Where is she? What ship is it again? Pluton.
It's Pluton.
So Pluton, where are you, Pluton? Okay, you are 74 with an AF of 4. So I only have a modified of 6. But is there any other modifier for that as attacker? No. Okay.
I have
Matter of fact, hold
defense.
on. I got
Mhm.
I need to take one off that because of the rate difference. Okay. Now you have a 2. You are
Yes. I
not.
have defense factor of 5. I already added it.
Okay.
Oh, and I
So
can have other modifiers. Slack, bow rake. No.
no.
I don't know what's unsupported
Do you have any damage though?
is.
No.
No.
Unsup.
So yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me
So I
read
have
that
no
again because I
modifier.
don't know what that means. Okay, so modifier discouraged, but also represents lack of mutual support. This is for unsupported would be a ship that's not in a squadron, basically an independent
Okay.
ship. All right, so
Makes
so
sense.
you're not the case there. So you get less cohesion of the
So,
crew, I guess.
so I
You
have.
beat me, so the score is less. Then there's no damage. So I was the
Okay.
attacker, and I was less than the target modified. So,
Yes.
and then we also check. What's interesting is you could still have crits. That's something to call out.
Yes.
Is if for some, even if modifiers didn't get damaged, you can still have a crit if there's a 1 or 1 6 on either, right? One
Okay.
six or a 6 1. All right, so that's that. You want to do one more maybe, just for where would you like to fire?
We can make another shooting because I believe Victory and Neptune
Well, that's a good
have.
question. Now here's the thing.
Victory will have Santissima Trinidad. I don't know what's the range of them.
Um,
It's below 15 centimeters, so medium.
so we might even have a stern rake here, but I can't get across the front edge of it. See that?
No.
So
Yeah, I
that's a
see.
normal. Okay,
I see that. So you don't get you get the
and I think they're on the
bow.
same rate, and they're not
You
neither
get the stern. You get the stern. You don't get bow, and I believe you have same rate.
neither are damaged. I think I got to take a -1 from the sail settings that we had. I don't think there's any other modifiers here. We're not within we're not within close range, so the
No,
carronade doesn't take effect. There's nothing else, right? So again, right
no.
here, I'll do attacker here. Rolling attacker here.
Right.
Rolling defender there. Okay, I think I probably have it. So then I add the AF of victory as well as CQ. Ooh, wait, let's go check that. Do you add CQM too?
Hmm.
I think you add CQM as well. Yes. So it's automatically +2 plus the AF. The AF is
I
6,
don't
so
know.
that's
Okay.
8. So 11 is the modified. And then the target, DF,
What's
that's the Santisima, isn't it?
yes,
Da 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 da.
around
Santisima.
5 or 6.
Defense is 5. So 5 adds to
5.
that makes it 6. Is there anything else? Okay, so I beat it, but I didn't double it, right? I
Right.
beat it, but I didn't double it. So that makes it like.
Light
So
probably.
there you go. That's how it works. I
Okay.
think I'm gonna. Let's save the game real quick.
Neptune can also fire on heroes, maybe. But yeah.
Where? Right here? Yeah, let's go
Here
ahead and do that.
Neptune.
Let's go ahead and do that just for another example.
It's
So
me. From what I see, it's medium. It's
you're right. It's
again not
medium.
medium without rake.
Yeah, it's without. It's without rake because you can't go through the whole through both frontages of the front and rear of the ship base. Let's see.
Although, yeah, the question is, this is something I need to check because you said the perpendicular line need to go through,
Yeah, you gotta go for
uh,
the main mast.
but it
You gotta
needs
go
to
for
go.
center line.
Okay, so no.
Yeah,
Okay, so there
yeah.
is no rake.
All right, so okay, let's do attacker. So here's the attacker's roll. You can do the defender's roll.
Defenders.
Add in the
Yeah,
AF for the attacker. Who's the attacker there? Neptune. Neptune attacker AF6. So that would be modified to 9. You had a 4. What's your DF on?
I don't know. I think
Who are you firing? Oh, you're firing at
I don't
Helos.
have this table. Oh yeah, who is the target? Heros.
Okay, they are a DF of 4. So they only have an 8. Okay, so I beat it, but I didn't double it, right? So again, light.
Right.
So again, another light.
You added what modifiers you added? Because I believe you had better
Yes, I did.
rate.
Yes, I did. So that
Okay.
actually would be a 10. Hold on, let me modify that. You're right. I didn't. I hadn't added that, but it still doesn't. It
Right.
still doesn't double it. But
No, it still
that's a
doesn't.
pretty
Okay, I
good.
thought you
It's a
had
pretty good
11.
idea how the system works. I think.
Yes, it's pretty good.
I just need.
It's
I
quick.
mean, now that we've actually played it,
Yeah.
I would never be tight formation. First of all,
But
um,
what do you need to roll in order to make this collision? How
um,
low do you
here,
need
let me
to
go
get?
read through that again real quick because that
Because we
screwed
will
us
just
both.
very how
Okay,
unlucky were we?
I'm gonna read through it just in case I messed up anything. So this is a chance of
Okay.
collision between friendly ships, depending on the formation. Roll 2d6 for each squadron once squadron movement has been completed. Modify it as follows: plus the CQM of the lowest ship in the squadron. By the way, so the lowest ship is always 0 for most of these squadrons. Um,
Hmm.
if it was gusty, we would be at -1. If any of the ships have suffered mass damage, we'd be at -1. If it's in a fighting formation, we'd be at -1. So it's still not that great.
Yeah.
I almost feel like this is a little rough. I mean, it has to be a modified 2 no matter what.
So
It
because
has
I
to.
lost track, how low do you need to roll
If
to
you
in order to fail
2 or
this?
less.
2 or
2
less.
right, so really 3 or less, right? Because
It's
no, I
on
mean you're
2d6.
always going to be
It's not
neg
that.
1. Well, I'm saying that there's one modifier that says -1 for in fighting formation, right? You're pretty much always going to be in
Uh,
fighting formation.
always.
So that's
So
really
3
a
or
3 or
less.
less. 3 or
But
less
but
on.
it's not that bad. At 2d6s, you need to
I
get really.
I would almost think that that's a chance of collision, and then you should roll a d6. And if you know what I'm saying, I almost feel like
Yeah.
that should be almost. I don't want to house rule on in play, but I would almost think that signifies there is a chance of collision, and then I think I would judge it as that's a collision.
Yeah,
You know
if
what I'm saying?
collision actually happened. Yeah, I
Yes,
know. The
exactly. Yeah, because
first
that.
roll gives you opportunity and second checks if collision actually happened.
Yeah, I think I would probably house rule that because that's too
Maybe,
much. That's too much collision,
maybe yes.
just by just by a factor.
Yeah,
So, because that's like 3 out of 12. That's what, 20 something percent, 25%.
little less, I believe. I
That's
need to
that's a
check.
high
I had
chance of. That's a pretty high chance of collision, right? Wait,
snake eyes
what's
is about
no 3 out of
less than
12?
three out.
That's 25% chance. That's a
Yeah,
25%
around
chance
that.
of collision. I would think that you
It's
would. I
not
think
it's not out of 12. It's out of less than 12 because the 2d6s have has the bell curve
all right.
probability.
Okay.
It's
Right.
actually
Sure.
I believe it's free from 36
3 out of 56. You said. Is that what you're
around
saying?
something like that. Yeah, it's free out of
I still feel
36, I
like that's a
believe.
pretty heavy collision risk. And
Yeah,
so I think the only way
probably.
to mitigate that would be okay. Roll 4 or better to to avoid collision. I'm sure something.
Yeah,
There should be just a last ditch effort.
yeah, probably. I don't know. Maybe I will acquire the rules and
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
see
know
them.
that we shouldn't have had two collisions on our both of our columns in one turn. I mean, we both rolled bad, but not. I think I rolled snake eyes, but I don't know.
No, I rolled snake eyes. I believe you rolled three total.
Right, but then no matter what, any tight formation immediately brought me down to one. Right, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're
Right?
in
Yeah, I
like
know.
if you're in a
I
tight
understand.
formation, that's a 4 or less you collide. So
Yeah,
basically, in simulating Trafalgar with these rules, there's not necessarily 4 out of 12, but rolling a 4 or less on a 2d12, which is, you can do it. You'd collide,
yeah,
and you immediately have light damage, and then there's still a chance of fouling. It's not that bad. We both rolled pretty bad. We both rolled pretty bad.
yeah. But
Okay.
if it's historically,
Yeah. All right.
because it is around, I need to check, but it is around 10%. I believe I need to. I had the whole 2d6
So the only thing we didn't do, the only
chances.
thing we hadn't done was rolling for getting through the line. Let me read that rule to you just real quick because
Oh,
that's
so
that's
you need to roll to get through the line,
yes
and
you
if you don't,
do.
you
And
just stop
let,
where you are.
well let me describe that to you.
Okay.
Squadrons must have an extant order to break the line. By the way, or contact an enemy formation. If they do not, and movement would result in convergence and contact the squadron, which is to windward, will turn away automatically at 8 centimeters distance. Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
We actually would have had to have declared a breaking of the line on our last orders, by the way, because as soon
Uh,
as yeah, that's something to keep in mind.
as an
That
order that they try. And what if we
yeah,
didn't? We just
we
stop
would have we
there.
would have we would have kept ourselves at 8 centimeters. We would have probably done
Okay.
this. Like in other words, you have to say I'm breaking the line. Otherwise, we would have had to have gone like this or like that.
Okay.
Okay, so that's something to keep. If a ship or
Good.
squadron is ordered to break the line, it may turn and move to close contact, although success is not necessarily certain. An enemy's line may be broken automatically if the moving ship would pass
Yeah.
between a gap of 8 centimeters. So if there's an 8 centimeter gap here, it's automatic, but there's not because these guys are in at least tight, if not.
Yeah.
Okay, so then
Okay, so you actually roll for it, and
you do, but
it's
hold
not
on.
that it's not the natural outcome of the movement
Right, you roll
rules.
you roll a d6, and that's modified by the squadron modifier. It's
Okay.
modified it's modified by the CQM of the leading ship, and then it's modified plus one. The SCM of the squadron intended break is greater than the SCM of the. Oh, if the SCM of the attacker is greater than the SCM of the target squadron, then you also get another plus one, and you have to get a 5 or better, but a 6 or better if in tight.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So let me just roll with these six
Yeah.
real quick. I'm just curious what if I would even be able to break the line. Okay, I rolled a 3, so I get a +2 for Nelson. Okay, then I get a plus. Wait, I got a +1 for Nelson. I get a +2 for the CQM of the lead ship because they're crack. So I actually would have broken it, right? I rolled
Mm-hmm.
this. I have a modified 6 in tight,
Okay.
so I would have been able to break the line here. Now whether you would
Cool.
have been able to, probably not, possibly. Let's see what you would have rolled. Roll this dice right here. Okay, so you're SQM of the squadron making the attempt. The Royal Sovereign Squadron, does he have a +1? Yes, he does.
Mm,
Yes, he does. So he's got a +1, and then the ship has a +1. So you got +2. You would have done it. You would have done it.
nice.
Barely. If you rolled a 3 or less, you wouldn't have.
Okay.
But then we would have taken into account your squadron's modifier versus this squadron's modifier, which I think you probably possibly would have been better. So you would have had to roll a 2 or less to not break the line. Does that make sense? Based on
Yeah,
your quality is better than this quality. So
more or
that's a
less.
little bit. So that's just a real quick description of how breaking the line works. Maybe
Okay.
if we ever play it again, maybe we'll do. We'll just take this save game and try to
Yeah,
break it
take
through.
this save game and we can continue because it's interesting
It's
outcome
very
right now.
interesting.
Yeah, and
Um,
I checked on these 2d6s, rolling 3 or less on 2d6s is around 8.5%. Around 8 to 9%.
so we just rolled really shitty.
Yes.
Okay. Excuse my language. All right. So all right. On that note, I'll end the stream. All right, everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you've seen this